Alhamdulillah wa salatu wa salam ala rasulillah ma ba'd. Is it permissible for a Muslim to work in a non-Muslim graveyard or anything to do with the deceased of disbelievers? Now, to answer this question, this is nothing personal towards the disbelievers. This is nothing out of disrespect towards them, but the ulama have said that it is not permissible for a Muslim to wash, to shroud, to arrange, to bury, to maintain the graves of the kuffar. This is because when the son of Adam passes away, انقطع عمله إلا من ثلاث, all of his actions are cut off. Now the point of evidence here is that he has then left the life of this dunya, and now when he is in the life of the barzakh, there is no relationship between the Muslims and the kuffar. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us in Surah At-Tawbah, ما كان للنبي والمؤمنين, it is not befitting for the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam or for the believers أن يستغفروا للمشركين, and that they make istighfar for the mushrikeen ولو كانوا أولي قربى, even if they are close family members, من بعد ما تبين له أنهم أصحاب الجحيم, after it is being made clear that such people are going to be in the hellfire. Therefore, in its asl, in its origin, when a person passes away, all of his connections between the people that are alive in the life of this dunya and the people that are alive in the life of this dunya, they are cut off. And from the rahmah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that He has made it that the believers can continue supplicating and making dua and istighfar and other actions which are prescribed, such as fasting and paying of debts and hajj and umrah, on behalf of those Muslims that have passed away. And according to the correct opinion, even that is tawqifi, meaning you can't do whatever it is that you want to do on behalf of the deceased. So if that's the believer, then of course it is more appropriate for us to say that with the disbelievers, you can't do things on their behalf once they're passed away, because they've moved on from the life of this dunya. And this is what I'm trying to say here. Islam has that approach not because we want to disrespect the kuffar, or we have, whatever it is that somebody might perceive. The reason is that they have moved on from the life of this dunya, and there is nothing that you can do now to aid them. So the ulama have said all of these things are impermissible, except in the case of necessity. Now, necessity here, the ulama have said, such as Ali ibn Abi Talib washing and shrouding his father, Abu Talib, when he passed away, if there is no one else to do it. And this is a necessity, and necessity which is agreed upon by the majority of the ulama. But if no such necessity exists, then a Muslim cannot work in the graveyard or anything connected to the deceased of the kuffar. And this, like I've said, is the view of the majority. Another reason is that they have said, some of the ulama that have looked into this, is that it is a means of a Muslim belittling himself in a role which is not appropriate for the believer. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us in Surah An-Nisa, وَلَن يَجْعَلَ اللَّهُ لِلْكَافِرِينَ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ سَبِيلًا. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has not made it for the kuffar to have a way above the believers. So how could it be fitting that a Muslim works in service towards the kuffar, to aid their religious beliefs, to aid their processes, etc., after they've moved on to life of this dunya? Some of the ulama have said the reason why it's not permissible also is because the Muslim is belittling himself in a role which doesn't befit. He should be seeking something which is better as an occupation. Another reason, and you will find this in Bukhari and Muslim and many places in the authentic Sunnah, that the Messenger of Allah ﷺ forbade for us لا تجلسوا على القبور ولا تصلوا إليها. And do not sit on the graves and do not pray towards them. In the graves of the kuffar, you will find this taking place. And this is now a means of a person aiding such impermissible actions, working in the graves of the kuffar. Another reason why it is not permissible is because quite often you will find them creating and erecting shrines above the grave, or plastering, or tiling, or creating edging, or all these different things. And these headstones which are, quite decorative with lots of writing and things like that, and maybe even religious symbols and statues and structures. The Messenger, again, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, in Bukhari, Muslim can find them, where he prohibited for us, "La tabnu al-qubur," do not build upon the graves. Therefore, it is not permissible for a person to work in the graveyard because they are aiding in people building upon the graves and maintaining its upkeep. Another reason why some of the ulama have said that it is impermissible is because a well-known principle in the Sharia, tabi', meaning something which has a ruling, whatever is connected to that ruling follows on from that ruling. So now, if a person is not allowed to uphold a church, anything which is connected to the church, which is more than likely a graveyard, I'm just giving an example of a Christian church, but it could be anything else as well, then the ruling which is connected to working in the church will then also apply to the graveyard, which is adjacent or part of the building there. So then that will become impermissible for another reason there also. I mean, these are some of the reasons. I'm sure there are others, though. These are the ones that come to mind as to the reasons why the ulama have said that Muslims should not work in the graveyard of the Kuffar. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that He keeps us firm upon La ilaha illallah until we meet Him, and that He gives us the best of end. هذا والله أعلم. صلى الله على نبينا محمد.